Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Appreciate all of you hanging out with us. You just heard us talking with Senator Bernie Moreno about everything going on right now surrounding that awful situation in Cincinnati. I mentioned that we would be talking to another senator. He's joining us now, Markwayne Mullin. Senator, appreciate you joining us. I think the last time I saw you, it was a pretty awesome event, was the NCAA Wrestling Championships. President Trump was there. It was incredible in Philadelphia, so it was good to meet you in person there. There's a huge bottleneck right now inside of the Senate, 150 different some odd nominations being held up. What's the latest there, and what should happen in your mind with that bottleneck?
Yeah, so I just want to point out something. The Democrats always talk about diversity, but I want to talk about the diversity inside the Republican Congress. I mean, just look at the difference, the way that Bernie and I are built. I mean, Bernie's built like a tech guy, and I'm built like an athlete. See, there's a big diversity between the two. I mean, if you know Bernie, I mean, he's a car salesman, and I was a plumber. But if you also know that Bernie could become professional in one sport, by the way, not fighting, obviously. He's probably one of the best pickleball players I've ever played against. It's ridiculous.
What is his strength on? By the way, I played pickleball for the first time ever. My wife Laura got me out there. We had a good
addictive,
time.
Man. It's addictive.
Yeah. What's his strength as a pickleball player?
He is very precise with his hits, and he can get more spin and lift off the ball than I've ever seen. He is a technician when it comes to it, and it drives me freaking nuts. He will make me run all over court, and he won't move 2 steps. And it makes me so mad. And the madder you get at pickleball, the worse you get. And that is not my strength in those sports. So,
that's really funny.
Anyway, I just had to throw that out. So the bottleneck, so dealing with the bottleneck, we have a unique situation going on right now. And I just want to throw some numbers out there to you. In Bush 41, 98% of his civilian nominees, which is 99% of the nominees we do, 98% went by either UC, which is unanimous consent, or a voice vote, meaning that the Senate actually never had to take a vote on it, and it speeds the process up. And Obama, or Clinton, I'm sorry, 98% of his nominees also went through by voice vote or unanimous consent. Underneath Bush 43, 90% of his went through, 90% of Obama's went through, and then when Trump came in, that's when the first term, that's when the bottleneck happened. And so this time last year, or this time in 2017, there was only 55 nominees that Trump had got through. Now, we have already confirmed 121 nominees. But this is the first time in history, that a president of the United States has not had one single nominee go by unanimous consent or voice vote. In fact, the only nominee that hasn't been filibustered is Marco Rubio, and that was our very first one. Ever since then, they have literally filibustered every single nominee, which is why we had this bottleneck. But we still have 121 compared to President Trump's first term to 55. So Thune has done really good at saying we're going to do this the hard way or the easy way. And that's why this Congress has voted more times than any Congress in the last 35 years, because we're having to it takes 4 votes per nominee to get him confirmed. And that's crazy if you think about that, because we have to vote to go in and out of session, meaning we got to go from legislative session to executive session. We got to vote to invoke cloture. We got to vote to end cloture, and then we got to vote on the nominee. So it's a long process, and underneath the current process, it's impossible to do if you do it all in one day. If you take every one of those votes every day, it's almost impossible to do more than 2 a day.
So what should happen now, Senator? What do you want to see to break the logjam? We've had a few of your colleagues on talking about this. I've been very frustrated by this. I've seen Democrats, once again, of course, they're in the break the glass era of anything goes to stop Donald Trump in whatever way they can, as petty as it has to be. They don't care. They're stopping U.S. attorneys from getting through. They're stopping judges from getting through. All good faith out the window. So what do we do? What do you want to see your Republican colleagues do?
it only leaves us with really one choice. If they won't allow the logjam to be broken, start allowing bipartisan nominees, at least those that are coming out of committee in a bipartisan vote. We have 55 of those setting right now. If they would at least allow those 55 to come through in a voice vote or a UC, unanimous consent, then if they won't allow us to at least do that, then we don't have a choice but to change the rules. That's kind of the nuclear option, because it goes two ways, right? If you do the nuclear option, then the nuclear option will always stay in place. Harry Reid kind of did this, and then Chuck Schumer really did this in 2017, which Mitch McConnell, the irony of that, Mitch McConnell actually warned about where we're going to be if that happens, and sure enough, it's exactly what he said in 2017 is where we're at. And that's when they ended the debate on every nominee being 30 hours to 2 hours. And what you're probably going to see is that we're going to have to take that option even farther to where instead of having 4 votes, where we've got to go in and out of executive session, we'll do a day where you stay in executive session all day, and you limit debate to maybe 15 minutes, or you limit the debate to 10 minutes, or that you make the nominees where they're non-debatable. Even at that, with the way the rules are in the Senate, you could get done about 2 an hour if you could get that passed. The problem we have in the Senate is we have some old guards that want to protect the decorum, what they call it, the way the Senate's always operated, and they don't want to change it. And so we have some people that are very protective of those rules, and to get 51 votes on there, I believe we can do that. I wouldn't be surprised if J.D. Vance would have to come up here, or Vice President would have to come up here and break the tie, because I think we'd probably lose some, and he would have to come up and break it. However, that's probably going to be our option, and that's actually what we're currently talking about as you and I speak. I stepped out of a conference that we're having, and this has been a very structured and passionate meeting that I stepped out of to discuss what our next options are. And I believe the Democrats are going to force this. So it wouldn't be us changing the rules. They have got away from the decorum, the senators, and on the Senate side, from the Democrats on the Democrat side, underneath the leadership of Chuck Schumer, they have got away from the decorum of the Senate, which is going to force the rules change.
We were just talking about earlier in the show the craziness. You were talking about the difference in the Republican caucus in the Senate. You got Eric Swalwell posting videos of him bench pressing 135 pounds, which is good. It'd be good for my 9th grade son who's trying out for his football team.
135 pounds. Come on.
Oh man,
what
rough day for Swalwell on the Clay and Buck show.
Video.
Yeah, so you understand, hey, if you're a one plate on the bench guy, that doesn't really motivate a lot of guys to think, hey, this is a dude that I can look up to. But you also have, this Sydney Sweeney thing has taken over all week, where you got a pretty girl doing a jeans commercial, and Democrats have decided basically that that's just a code word for Nazism. Big picture here. Did you ever think that Democrats would go this insane? And what Buck and I were talking about is, privately, are there guys on the Senate floor who are Democrats and they just will say to you privately, this whole men and women's sports is just absolutely insane? They still have to have some dudes, right? Even on the Democrat side, who privately will point out that this is just absolute insanity. Or are they like that in private too? I'm not asking you to out guys who say it necessarily, but I'm just kind of curious, in normal guy conversations, do Democrats acknowledge how ridiculous all this is?
This is quote what they say. We have lost our effing mind. I didn't say the whole word. I just said they say that, and yes, there is several of the guys and some of the ladies.
Uh-oh. Did they just snipe him right as he's giving us? Oh, wait, there we go. So you got cut off there for a sec. You said there's several guys and some of the women that will say privately, this is crazy.
Yeah, well, they actually say we've lost our ever-loving mind, or their effing mind. And they absolutely have, but they can't move. And the reason why they can't move is because they would lose their primary election. Because their party has went so far that they can, yes, win a primary, but they're going to have a hard time winning the general. That's why you see these polls, if there's a 30-point swing between favorable and unfavorable, is because this base Their base has become so woke, so socialist, so anti everything that makes common sense that they can't move off of it, but that's the base they built. And it started, honestly, during the 2015-2016 election. And then they just fed into it for 4 years underneath President Trump's first term. And they won it. I debatable if they won an election. I actually don't say that, but I'm just saying they put Biden in office one way or the next. And during that 4 years, it destroyed our economy, destroyed morale in the service industry. It destroyed the morale within our men and women in uniform. It destroyed the morale of our just common sense and any day walk of life. We saw what happened in schools. We saw what happened during the school boards. I mean, it just got crazy. And American people woke up and said, we're not doing that anymore, and they put President Trump back in office. They can't get away from that base, though. But privately, they know it's destroying their party. I think if they had their choice, they would love to go back and to the JFK Democrats. But you see what happened to Chuck Schumer. Let's just look at what happened to Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer voted with us to do a continuing resolution to keep the government open. He got destroyed at home. I mean, here's a guy that's never had a tough reelection, and he got destroyed at home, and now AOC is threatened to run against him. His behavior changed so much because now he can't allow AOC to be to his left, that now he has to behave just like that, which is causing them to not be reasonable on anything we're doing moving forward.
Good stuff, Senator. We appreciate the time. Good luck on the pickleball court. Tell Bernie that that we'll challenge him at some point.
I will never play Bernie Moreno in pickleball ever again. Ever. It was the most humbling thing I've ever had done to me in my life.
Tell your wife congrats, by the way, on being able to outbench the most manly Democrat of all, which is
Mr.
obviously
Fang
Eric
Fang.
Swalwell. Yeah, Mr. Fang
Fang. All right. Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate that. Have a good weekend. James Carey joined the United States Marine Corps after being inspired by his grandfather, who also served our nation. James loved being a Marine, but his life would change forever during a training exercise. He lost consciousness, nearly drowned. The incident resulted in a brain injury that left James blind, unable to use his body, susceptible to memory loss. It even brought on dementia. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation built James a specially adapted smart home to enable him to live more independently. Thanks to the generosity of friends like you, the lives of American heroes and their families are being improved. James Carey, so many other service members like him, and first responders have paid a high price to keep our country and our communities safe. Through Tunnel to Towers, friends like you have said thank you, not only through words, but through actions. America's heroes need your help now more than ever. Help heroes like James and their families. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.